Hey guys, I'm CDisney2009, and today I'm going to be telling you a little history about Chris Walker. Now, if you do not know who Chris Walker is, he's basically the big, gigantic dude that basically hunts Miles Upshur down, basically, in the game called Outlast. Now, let's get right into the video. Get right into the video, shall we? Now first of all, the information I'm going to tell you that he's actually an ex-military policeman in the U.S. Army. Alright, now, the thing is about Chris Walker that since the outbreak has actually started, he actually began to roam the asylum, basically killing any person he sees in sight, maybe including the crazy people, and basically ripping their heads off. Basically rips their head off. Basically rips somebody's head off. And he actually has a collection in one of the rooms in the administration block. Also he also follows Miles basically everywhere Miles goes. He basically attempts to kill Miles in many different locations. Well, I will get to that later. Basically, since the outbreak of the crazy people broke out at the Murkoff place, basically Mount Massive Asylum. Now, Miles also encounters Walker for the very first time as he opens a door and he also encounters Walker through a corridor, and he sees Walker basically entering another room, basically walking toward the door. Also, the thing is, when Miles basically attempts to squeeze a little through that thing, basically he is grabbed by Chris Walker, who calls him. When the power goes out, Chris Walker basically attempts to kill Miles again. And by the way, the second attempt he tries to kill Miles Upshur is by breaking into the security room, but he actually leaves as Miles basically hides in a locker. Now, there's many different locations Miles gets hunted by Chris Walker, known as the administration block, which is the area that Miles is in now, the prison block, the sewers, the male ward, the country yard, even the female ward, and the underground lab. Now, basically, as I said earlier, Miles is actually being hunted by Chris Walker. And basically Chris Walker is also his job to contain the wall, right? The characteristics about Chris Walker: he even has the ability to basically lift up a full grown up or an adult with one hand, and basically can actually rip somebody's head off from their body. He can actually pick somebody's head up with one hand. He even attempts to kill Miles in the prison block, while Miles turns on a decontamination room, basically a disinfected room. Chris Walker breaks into the room, forcing Miles to enter through a nearby air vent. Miles succeeds and escapes Chris Walker, while Chris Walker tries to attempt to kill Miles during this. But Miles succeeds and escapes Chris Walker. Now, Walker does not give up, however, and attempts to kill Miles once again in a big dark room, a little prison. Attempts to kill Miles again, but Miles succeeds in he succeeds and escapes Chris Walker, going through the prison block, where Miles squeezes through a little thing and then meets up with a crazy person. Anyways, While Miles is busy trying to drain the water by turning the two valves, Walker once again appears, attempting to kill Miles once again. But basically, Miles attempts to succeed and escapes Walker once again by draining the water to escape down a near ladder by basically flushing the water by turning the two valves. Also, Walker also attempts to contain the Walrider in the country yard where Walker basically is patrolling. Miles basically escapes him by sneaking past him and basically meeting with Father Martin. Now, meeting with Father Martin. Basically, yeah. And all that stuff, yeah. Walker also attempted to kill Miles once again while Miles basically gets the elevator key that basically leads down into the underground lab. Now, as Miles basically enters the underground lab, he is where the Walrider basically hosts. He is chased by the Walrider back to the way he came from, to the next to those two double doors. Now as I was going to say, he's chased by the Walrider back to the way he came from. Now, the thing is, upon Miles basically opening two double doors, Chris Walker basically grabs him and basically throws him on the ground, telling him no more escape, and basically calls him a little pig for one last time. Unknowingly, he tries to attempt to grab Miles. Basically, the Walrider actually stops him, basically pulling him away from Miles, basically beating him against the wall. Miles films this as Walker gets lifted into the air by the Walrider, and basically the Walrider basically forces Chris Walker's huge body into a closed air vent, basically shreds his body, basically killing Chris Walker. Yep. As you guys can see here, biographic information about Chris Walker. He was born 1977. He's a big tall dude. Basically, he is bald, he has blue eyes, he has no hair, he's completely bald, he has blue eyes, no nose, no lips. He's also an ex-military policeman in the US Army. Again, he was born 1977. He also, in his death, was caused by the Walrider in the underground lab, basically trying to attempt to kill Miles one last time, as Miles basically opens two double doors and Chris Walker attempts to kill him, but he was killed by the Walrider by basically getting smushed in an closed by air vent. Anyways, if you guys did enjoy this video, my first episode of History of Outlast, if you guys did enjoy this video of History of Chris Walker, please subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you guys next